Before we start the podcast, a big shout out to our sponsors and partners, Pro Apparel. They're making waves in the health and fitness industry at the moment. They've got some great gym wear for men and women, so be sure to check them out in the link below. Right, let's get cracking with the episode. Prince Patel, Tony Bange, welcome to Below the Belt podcast. How are you, boys?
We keep it above the belt, but yeah, we're great. We're great. Thanks for having us.
I love these little one-liners, by the way. Tell me, how did this relationship first come about, or partnership, should I say?
Let you go with that.
We've been friends for a while, and then like literally before we was pro, we were supposed to debut on the same show. Yeah. We kept in touch, and then Prince went off and did his own thing around the world. I was still boxing in the UK. Then when he wanted to come back to the UK, he saw that I was working with a promoter, and he said like, "I'm gonna jump on with your promoter." From then, he realised how the guy was running everything and everything. Because like, Tone, you're his biggest ticket seller. Like, and I've just come on his show and given him the most views he's ever had. Okay. Why don't me and you work together and do something? I reckon we could do it bigger. And we started working together, and it just worked really well.
So how is that working at the moment then? You're both quite different in terms of personality, character. Obviously, everyone knows about your personality and character. What about you? Seem a bit more laid back, Tony, a bit more reserved. Do you have to rein him in sometimes, or?
yeah. He's a bit wild. He's out there, but he speaks his mind and stands his ground. But he's business minded. He's very clued on with business. Yeah. So when I sit down and talk to him, I say, "Look, this is what we want to do. How we're gonna do it." And he comes up with a plan. Normally, it's a really good plan. So our little flaws in our plans sometimes, but all in all, we get things right. Yeah, we get them right eventually. Yeah.
So it was quite an orthodox strategy with regards to chasing the belts, chasing the titles. You've been abroad quite a bit, right? You fought all over the world. What drove that? Why not fight more in the UK?
You got to take what's available for you. Sometimes in the UK, outside the main TV promoters, which is obviously Sky Sports, TNT, Channel 5, The Zone, if you're basically effectively paying to fight. So why am I going to be paying to do something that I love doing? I'd rather get paid a wage and fight. So if I'm not getting opportunities to go on TV shows, I can go overseas. I get a nice holiday out of it. I generate decent enough money to keep me going and win, which is the important thing, which is why everyone's in the sport, right? To win.
And you now got the credentials of the first and only Indian world champion, the IBO world champion, and Tony, the first Sikh to own a version of a world title as well. How does that feel? I guess that's nice that you know what you're doing's paying off in a way, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think that I've wasted my time like not trying to like mix just with the UK lot. But I like to look at myself as international, as like a global sort of fighter rather than just like someone who's known in a small city or whatever.
Yeah, he said that to me once before. He said, "How can you call yourself a world champion if you haven't travelled the world fighting?"
Which is true.
That's a fair point.
So yeah, I enjoy doing it though. Like I can understand if people don't want to leave their family and don't want to go to different places and stuff. I enjoy going around the world, meeting new people, building like a network which isn't just the same faces that you see on social media. I got like, when I look at like the people who go on my Instagram, for example, I only got like 50% that are from the UK, if that makes sense, that follow me. The rest of them are from different parts of the world. So I like that. Instead of just being a star in one country, you could be a star globally, which is better.
Do you guys want to build that reputation and name in the UK now, though? There's going to have to come a point where you guys have to build that name here, right?
We knew he was going to mention UK sort of matches. Personally, for me, I would like to fight Amir Khan.
Yeah.
He's the first Pakistani, not first Pakistani world champion. He's the highest achieving Pakistani. I'm the highest achieving Indian. I actually took up boxing when I watched him in the Olympics get a silver medal.
Yeah.
He was the only British representative. I was just coming out of year 6, going into year 7. I wanted to do a sport that was not like team sported, because if I'm playing football and I don't win a game, I'm blaming everyone on the team. I'm very like focused and driven, and I watched him in the Olympics done really well. You could say it somewhat inspired me, seeing some representation of a brown person. But you know the sorts of stuff I see of him at the moment, like
here we go.
I think it's kind of an embarrassment to every brown person at the moment.
Yeah, why is that?
Like, he's in the jungle eating kangaroo testicles while his wife's at home munching on big black testicles. Obviously, we've seen in 2017 he accused his wife of committing adultery with a big stallion of a man in Anthony Joshua. It's a big stud. Let's be real now. AJ's a big stallion of a man. I'm pretty sure whichever ring he decides to enter, he's gonna cause some real damage. Like if he just moved slight direction, it could be a big makhdoom of an explosion. Pun was intended there, but I'm pretty sure when she was with AJ, a lot of things were intended. But I don't know. Like personally, as a brown man, he might be in an open relationship, maybe, but you can't just be letting your wife like. He either threw his wife under the bus or you threw her under AJ. I don't know which is worse.
I think we all knew what to expect before this podcast, right? Is this the real Prince Patel now? You calling out Amir Khan in this way? Is it to draw him out of retirement? Would he come out of retirement to fight Prince Patel? Can you generate the viewing figures, the numbers? Like you said, on paper, first and only Indian world champion. Obviously, Amir Khan, you don't need to kind of talk about his credentials. So on paper, yeah, it makes sense. But can you draw in the viewing figures for that?
I've actually got a good answer to that question. That fight makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Because you got the highest achieved Pakistani boxer against the highest achieved Indian boxer. He wanted to fight Neeraj Goyat at one point. Neeraj Goyat is nowhere near the level of Prince. In fact, I want to fight Neeraj Goyat. That's the fight I want. I want to target the Indian publicity, the Indian community, because I know if you tap me into that audience, I'm a superstar in that audience. I take it over.
But as you guys say, boxing's a business, right, as well. Obviously, you want the legacy, but it's a business. Why would Amir Khan, obviously that's good reason on paper to come out, but I feel like for him now it'd be a case of there needs to be money on the line as well, right? Would that fight generate the money?
If Saudi were willing to put money up to put Neeraj Amir on, why wouldn't they put money up to put Patel Amir on? It doesn't make sense. You've got a fair fight. Then before it wasn't a fair fight, you had a fighter who was a lot better than the other fighter, taking liberty of the fighter. Really, guy was just there for a payday. He's not here for a payday. He's there to win. He's there to represent us and win.
And we know that factual evidence is I punch very hard, and he's very suspect around the whiskers. He was on gear in his last fight and still got knocked out. I know you've done a podcast yourself talking about gear with someone and the benefits it can give someone and can aid you to train harder and all that stuff. Well, it don't matter what training he done in his last fight. He was an embarrassment. It was embarrassing. He after all that talk of you and Kell Brook, you felt you was better than Kell Brook, all this stuff, Kell Brook constantly calling you out, you saying you're a bigger name than him, then you needed some cash, so you took the fight with him, because he cashed in. Then you took your beating, a similar beating to what AJ done to... he, whilst testing positive.
So is there much from you to gain then, fighting him, if he was really on the decline in that last fight?
I then prove I'm the best South Asian fighter to ever live.
Yeah.
That's like 2 billion people. So I'm 1 in a billion at the moment. I knock Khan out and I prove myself as 1 in 2 billion.
Okay.
Prove myself as the best out of...
the greatest South Asian boxer of all time, yeah.
Literally, that means I'm, out of 1 in 4 men, I'm the highest achiever.
Let's get straight into it then. Let's talk about hit list. Both of you.
Okay, I knew you was going to come with that.
So I don't want to keep talking about the past. I think everyone knows about Prince Patel. I think people are definitely starting to know about you now as well, Tony. Your name is getting out there. Let's talk about the future now. Let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste time on this podcast. Let's talk about hit lists. You go first, Tony. What do you want?
One guy sits at the top of my hit list and he's the fighter I want to fight more than anyone out of this. My full focus on getting that guy in the ring. His name's Neeraj Goyat.
Yeah.
He's the most popular Indian boxer at the moment. I'm the highest achieved Sikh boxer to come out of the UK right now. Yeah. I'm popping and my name's going round. I want to represent my people against the best Indian boxer. Most popular Indian boxer. Best Indian boxer is Prince, but the most popular Indian boxer in India is Neeraj Goyat. If I can tap into that market, I know I've hit superstardom. I'm destined to hit superstardom. Then you've seen my post going around viral in the Punjab. Come on, man. just let me lose
40,000
there.
likes.
40,000 likes as soon as I won that belt. Imagine I fight a guy with 2 point something million followers.
For you guys to get these big fights, you're going to need to start working with some of the big promoters, right? And obviously, Prince, yourself, you know, you're known for making controversial statements, comments, rubbing a few people up the wrong way. Would you be willing to work with some of the big promoters, the Eddie Hearns, the Frank Warrens, Ben Shalom?
I work with anyone as long as it makes sense.
Yeah.
If it makes money, it makes sense, right? I'm willing to work with anyone. Same with Tony. Neeraj is signed by Jake Paul, MVP Promotions.
Yeah.
I believe that's a fight that could be made. Tony actually said he's the most highest achiever Sikh boxer in the UK. I believe Sikh boxer out of the whole world.
Yeah.
There's only like 30 million Sikhs anyway, but like he's achieved the most. When you actually break it down, you go to actual every Sikh that's a professional athlete, a professional boxer. I don't believe there's one that's out achieved them at the moment. I can't think of any.
Now, I've surpassed Virginia Singh. I've surpassed all the guys in the UK. I'm the highest ranked in the UK. I mean, I'm in the top 20. None of them in the top 20.
There was a guy called Dilbag Singh from Coventry. He was a Midlands champion. I like to do my research. I know he was quite surprised.
He's a big lad. I know him well.
Yeah, but I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying Tony's slightly gone
Even
past.
Tony's getting worried.
I'm not worried about nothing.
Tony's gone past.
I know him as well.
Midlands.
He's my good friend. He's all right, Dilbag. He's all right, mate.
He's cruiserweight or something, but yeah, he's like
he's a cruiserweight.
He went a bit past Midlands level, I would say, a little bit past Midlands.
So
I think he had a few professionals, but then
He's good. He weren't bad. That's why I remembered him.
So truthfully, it starts like southern area, then you get national, then you get like international, and you get continental, intercontinental, and then world. But I'd get approved for like an intercontinental, definitely international.
Yeah.
So I'm already at that level.
I definitely think, obviously, I want to be as impartial as possible here. So the titles you guys have won, it's no easy. Don't worry, I'm not going to.
I was thinking these are the comments some names because I was thinking to put my head on to quickly counteract the.
I am going to bring some names in a minute, but obviously the IBO world title is definitely a legitimate world title. Like I said,
it's happening
the
on
Tyson
the
Fury
weekend.
Exactly. It's a legitimate world title. There are critics out there that say it's not as legitimate as your WBCs and whatnot. And obviously, I know yourself as well, Tony. What would you say to those critics who have said, obviously, you fought abroad, and like you said, if you want to be a world champion, travel abroad. So it's a very good point. But what would you say to the people who have questioned the credentials and the caliber of the opponents that you
Have
face?
they ever won any titles? Have they ever won
Exactly. One thing I would say is anybody that gets in the ring has got a pair of bollocks on them, and especially to even win a title. So obviously there will be armchair fans that say that.
People actually win a title?
Exactly. It takes bollocks. But what would you say to the other boxers out there who you're calling out?
Every boxer wants to win titles. Neeraj goes on about being a 3-time WBC Asia champion.
Won that in his own country. I've done it in someone else's. Had to go as the away fighter.
No, that's a fair point.
But yeah, look, for me personally to win the IBO world title, I had to beat someone who was 18-0 in a neighborhood country because he's Nigerian. I fought him in Ghana.
He won his record.
He won 2 WBC international titles. He was world rated at the time with the WBC, the WBA, and the IBO. So what? So if the WBC or WBA world champion wanted to fight him for a world title, everyone would have been asked a good defense, blah, blah, blah. But I beat him for an IBO, which is, I believe it's a recognised world title. You've got Usyk holds it. They wouldn't pay sanctioning fees if it wasn't.
Yeah, no,
because there are
agree
other
with
organisations out there, no disrespect to them or whatever, like, for example, the WBF, for example. Why isn't that on the line with Usyk and Fury? Because they don't regard it as a top-tier world title.
Yeah.
They regard that as a top-tier world title. That's why it's there. So, yeah, I don't really care what people say. The facts are the facts is every podcast I go on now, I'm going to disrespect Amir Khan. I can't respect the man. Amir Khan is a waste of a man. Like, if you're out here throwing your wife under the bus or under AJ, you're going to get at it for that. And the only way you can resolve that is by fighting me. If you beat me, I'll shake your hand and say, well done, your wife won't get this no more. You won't get this no more. But if you don't beat me, you're going to get at it again.
Do you think he would come out of retirement to fight you?
It depends how big I can get my name.
The stuff he's been saying, I might want to come out of retirement and fight him, man.
No, it depends. It depends, like, as you said, if it makes money.
I'll be honest, like, I've been following you for a long time. I know, I've obviously known you since the amateur days. You may not have known me, but I've known what you've been doing from the moment you turned pro and what you've done later on. So for me, from a selfish point of view, yeah, I'd find it interesting. But again, how do you get other people on board with that fight? And first and foremost, how do you get Amir Khan on board with that fight?
Well, the storyline in itself should sell for itself.
Yeah.
You got India against Pakistan, but it's not at a low level. You're dealing with the highest achievers against one another.
And why go up in so many weights? I can tell obviously you've filled out a little bit, but you've gone up about six
since
weight
This guy,
classes.
what he used to eat as a bantamweight, the guy lived off an apple a day, man.
Yeah, some bullshit like that. No, because what it would be like...
Was it to attract the big fights?
Literally, yeah. Literally. Like you mentioned, like, look, you're fighting at bantamweight, really, really and truly.
You don't want to be facing the Charlie Edwards, just Sonny Edwards of this world.
Are you going to become a global superstar by fighting Sonny Edwards or Charlie Edwards? You're not. They're not household names. Sonny's been on TV countless times, yet he could probably walk down the street and no one will know who he is. Conor Benn walks down the street, everyone knows who he is. It's a big difference there. And you talked about names that I want to fight. I think Conor Benn's a safe shout. He's number 1 in Britain on paper. I'm number 4 on paper. His dad got knocked out on the cobbles, verified story, by an Indian man. And his brother got knocked out in Dubai by an Indian man. So his family's 0-2 against Indians. Obviously, I understand that we come from a warrior genetics and all that sorts of stuff, but they're still 0-2. He has to try and redeem his family's honour.
Oh, there was a rumour that guy was your dad.
It was a big geezer with a ponytail, basically, that knocked him out. Yeah, and he just licked his dad, innit, multiple times. It was in the news article, he said himself, like, oh, my dad found me on the floor and I had blood all over. But there's no shame in that, like a big Indian geezer knocking you out, bigger than Dillbag, knocking you out. It's, it's no shame in that, obviously. But Nigel was a good fighter. I'm pretty sure Nigel didn't have to take any stuff to make him get a failed drug test. I think Nigel...
What do you think about that?
Look...
Has he been proven innocent? Has he not?
Apparently, he's been... Allegedly, he's been exonerated and found innocent for failing 2 drug tests. But
then why would you want to fight someone if you believe they have?
Because I like transparency in the world. And I think personally, my opinion is he took performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
I can't obviously say he's a cheat, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. I'm just facing opinions. I'm going off the alleged failed test that he had 2, not just 1, 2. Obviously, I don't know what's happened behind the scenes for them to exonerate him, but that's why I'm calling for transparency. He could tell us exactly why it was in his system, why he had them failed tests. He's yet to do that, which in my opinion shows he has something to hide. I believe he owes it to the boxing fans, the supporters, his own fans and supporters. Most importantly, he owes it to the fighters that risk their life going in the ring to earn a living or to win championship gold. He owes it to everyone. And if he ain't man enough to explain why it was in his system, even though he's been exonerated, then he's a piece of shit. And then he deserves, in my opinion, capital punishment. And I'm happy to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner by knocking him out.
He did do a couple of interviews, didn't he? With obviously one with Piers Morgan, where he told his side of the story. Some said it didn't pan out great for him once it went live. But again, you think that's a fight you can legitimately kind of bring to the fore? You think you can get his attention?
I like to look at it. Well, I should have his attention. I'm number 4. He's number 1.
I did see that.
That's something that should be spoken. I've done stuff he hasn't done. He's yet to win even a Commonwealth title. I left that shit at home. I didn't even bother bringing that belt here today. That's at home somewhere in storage.
I don't understand though. Why do you think you're not getting the recognition that other fighters are?
Because the truth is, people don't think...
And this is for you too, Tony. Because do you think you're not getting the recognition that you should be at this stage?
People don't think Indian guys can fight. Yeah. They don't think it can happen. I've proved it can happen. You don't get 35 wins and knock 30 of them out. If you can't fight, you don't win national titles in the amateurs. You don't box for England in the amateurs. This is proven from day dot that I've been, I would say, on an elite standard from when I was pretty much just started to now. Whereas with Conor Benn, it's kind of different. He was getting knocked down and gifted a win against Cedric Pinard, who's a journeyman from France. Gifted a win against that guy, where many people thought he got beat. And then he take some magic pills or whatever it is. I don't know what it might have been, some good creatine monohydrate or something. I don't know what he was taking, but he then suddenly got more ferocious, more explosive, more powerful, which kind of the signs of certain stuff. You know, if you take creatine, it's going to make you more explosive, it's going to make you more powerful. If you take creatine monohydrate, that's what I take. He must have been taking it in some very high dosages, but yeah, he looked, when he fought Algieri and when he fought Chris Van Heerden, he looked very powerful and explosive.
He did.
I can't take anything away from him. Looked very good.
Yeah.
But then when he come off with the 2 failed tests, his 2 performances after against 2 guys, I can't even remember their names. He went points and he didn't look as good and he didn't look as powerful, as strong. So yeah, I just feel like there needs to be a punishment for him failing tests, and no better punishment than fighting a proven knockout artist. A guy that's known as the African Slayer, a guy that is the real Dark Destroyer, pun intended there. And yeah, it's proven. He needs to get some punishment.
What about you, Tony?
I'll be honest, I'm going to go back to Neeraj. Bruv, that's the fight. It just keeps playing on my mind.
Is there no one else on that hit
no
list?
one else
Just Neeraj?
There's no one else on my radar that I want to fight other than that guy. I know he's scared of me, bro. This guy, he fears me because he knows that I'm a real boxer.
Obviously,
you fought on Netflix against a 0-1. I went out to a bloody Africa, lonely little Indian, had been jumped up 2 weights, take on a killer, and I beat him. Come on, man. Like, if you're going to represent properly, bro. We've been warrior race, and you acting like a coward fighting a guy who's 0-1.
How do you get his attention then? How do you get him in that
Said
ring?
He once before I throw your patty at him, bro. But if I see him face to face, man, I might start throwing some hands and beat some shoulder out of him, bro. You better give me that fight. I need that fight.
Is Saudi an option for you two? Do you think?
Definitely.
Is that attractive? How do you get on those shows?
I think him and Neeraj could happen on a Jake Paul undercard of his next fight, something like that. No one wants to see Neeraj fighting some guy who could barely hold his hands up and he still can't stop him. I personally don't think Neeraj would fight me, but Tony's made it very clear that he wants to fight him. I think Neeraj, what did he fought? Welterweight was his career, then he went up to super middle.
Yeah.
So it's prime. It's prime. If he wants to fight Tony super middle, you got
I just won the title at super middle, yeah.
Yeah. So him against Neeraj super middle makes sense. I'm pretty confident Tony should win that. And then obviously more eyes will be on Tony.
Win, that's an obliteration, bro.
Massacre.
I'll slap the gi out of him, bro. Like, the guy ain't got a chance against me.
Slap the perm off his hair.
Exactly. Like, he'd be running the chewy of Chandigarh, man, running around.
Yeah, but you're from Ludhiana in Punjab.
Yeah.
He's from
Chandigarh, yeah.
It makes sense.
Battle of the Punjab, man.
So one thing I want to ask is, so you've burnt a couple of bridges in the past, Prince, and
something like that.
obviously you're not shy of, obviously you don't mince your words either by the sounds of it, as I can now tell. Do you think that has propelled both of your boxing careers, or has it hindered it? Has it held you back?
With me, I started pro at flyweight. Yeah,
I
made
remember
my debut actually at light fly. I think it was.
I remember the
rubbish like
early
that.
interviews, definitely.
And I'm thinking to myself, I was getting people coming up to me on the street sometimes, asking for pictures, talking, like trying to make conversation and stuff. Who does that to flyweights?
Good point.
Like, no one even knows. Like, could you even mention who the British champion is at flyweight right now?
I'll be honest, I can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a division that no one really cares about. But I was bringing some attention and some eyes to it. I personally don't think I've done anything wrong.
Before you go on there, like you said, you were trying to bring some attention and some eyes to it. That's where I wanted to question the personality and the character. Is that the real Prince Patel, or is this just to generate views, get people in the ring, get publicity? Because where does this confidence come from? Have you always been like this?
Looked in the mirror, innit? But no, like what it is I was a big wrestling fan growing up. I liked like The Rock, I liked Stone Cold, I liked Triple H, all these people.
Okay.
Like that was what I first wanted to do when I was younger. Then when I realised I weren't hitting 6 foot, 6'5", I used to go to bed begging God to be 7 foot.
Yeah.
That it just went waist downwards. It didn't. It just went wrong. But when I realised that weren't gonna happen, I thought, well, boxing's kind of similar, so go on the same sort of blueprint, yeah. And that is like if I'm playing a computer game with my friend, I'm trash talking. We're playing FIFA, I'm saying stuff, trying to get under his skin, whatever. I play games to win, but I'll be malicious with it. I'll be harsh with it because I'm here to win. And with the stuff that I used to say when I was like younger, I don't think I actually did anything that was too like outrageous. I mentioned to Barry Jones.
I honestly believe his personality was made for Misfits. That sort of boxing, that like what they're doing there, he just takes over, man.
So that's a completely different path in the boxing world. So are you now saying you're open to Misfits as well,
Open to
potentially?
anything
What's
serious
more important, legacy or money?
My
in
legacy
boxing to you?
speaks for itself because until there's another Indian that can come and even get close to what I've done. And always, people remember the first. I was the first Indian Commonwealth champion, first Indian world champion.
Yeah.
No one else has done that. First Indian to win an Intercontinental title. I know you might say there was another Gill that won a Commonwealth title in Jordan Gill.
Yeah.
He's only half Indian though.
And you've got a specific rule set over what?
Well, if you're going home and having your white mum kick you fish and chips, I don't count you as Indian. Just
Go
my
home,
opinion.
we get Kiman flipping rice, mate. That's
Literally,
what we,
there was some dal
Exactly,
thrown on the
yeah.
table, and I was told to eat that.
You can't call yourself
With
proper
some roti
Punjabi when you go home and you're not getting the proper like patilla cooked flipping stuff.
It's
man.
nothing against Jordan Gill as well because I quite like him. I remember I spoke to him many times in the amateurs. Good fighter, very good fighter as well. But he's not full Indian. I can't count it.
So just going back to my question
Yeah,
then,
go on.
with regards to obviously the personality, the character,
Yeah.
and obviously
He's
not
a
meant
complete opposite character to me, Jordan is. He's
Yeah.
like humble, doesn't
He
talk
is,
about
yeah.
how good he
So
is.
do you
or
think
could
you
be.
burnt bridges, and do you think it's held you back in your career and it's put promoters off wanting to work with you, for example?
I
And
believe
does that
I'm-
not scare you, Tony?
I'll be honest,
Because you know he's going to come out with some crazy shit, right?
We was in the gym and David Hay walked in the gym and he said straight to Prince, because Prince, everything you did it bloody right, mate.
The funniest thing is I was actually having a conversation with my coach at the time, Sam Mullins, in Churchill's. And he's still my coach because I said coach at the time, still my coach. But yeah, we're there talking, we're debating. He's like, oh, maybe you should be the nice guy, the good guy. And I was like, yeah, but I'm
didn't work.
putting a fake attitude on.
I did that.
I'm
That
doing
didn't work.
Tony's
Yeah.
first version. No one cares about that stuff.
I do like that you say it how it is.
No, but they don't want to see me walk around with a pair of daffodils in my hand and going through a
True.
flower
Tra-
garden.
It's
They
good
want to
be-
hear.
yeah.
They want to
Sorry.
hear some bullshit.
It's good to be humble and grounded and stuff,
Yeah.
but you got to speak up for yourself as well because you just get brushed to the side if you're too quiet. And that's what happened to me. I just got pushed to the side because I was too quiet. And now that I'm speaking up, people are starting to recognize me. And I'll be honest, I did get done dirty at the start of my career because there was other Indian like Sikh boxers coming through. They were getting pushed heavily. And they tried to like break me down as a boxer. And look, I've excelled more than all of them.
Why do you think that is, that they tried to break you down, or you weren't getting the same
think-
recognition as them?
Yeah, I wasn't getting the same recognition. I was like, I'm a lot better than these guys.
Well, why do you think that was, though?
I have no idea, man. So it might be jealousy. It might be...
He was managed by
favouritism.
Naz when he first went pro.
Yeah, so I debuted as a pro. I boxed on Box Nation as my debut. They tried to get me beat on a debut. So just think, he's got all this exposure and everything around him. He's got a chance to shine to his community. I was the biggest, like, out of all the Sikh boxers there, I was the biggest ticket seller there. I pretty much sold, like, I think it was 200 or something ringside tickets. They're equivalent to like 400
Was Virginia on
tickets.
that card?
Yeah, Virginia
Yes,
was on
you had
that
Virginia
card.
and you had
Yeah.
a boxer called Sanjeev Shahota.
So they tried
Sanjeev Sahota,
Yeah, they
yeah.
tried to
who I don't
make-
think boxes anymore, right?
No,
But
you get
I
an
knew
eye
him.
problem.
So
Yeah.
they tried to make Vijinda look like a superstar, Sanjeev look like a superstar, and try and get me banged out. So they, I was flipping Liberty, mate. You put Sanjeev in with a what is it, 0-2. You put Vijinda in with something like a flipping. Bearing in mind, Vijinda had a good pedigree because he's a good amateur, but the guy they put him in with was a mismatch because he blew him away. They put me in with a well-experienced, active journeyman, knowing I'd been waiting nearly a year to get my license, been inactive, and I haven't got the highest amateur pedigree. Like I came from unlicensed fighting. So you tried to humiliate me on Box Nation on my debut, which I think was a real dirty move to do. And look, I've excelled over Vijinda, I've way excelled over Sanjeev, and like the cream rises to the top, man. Like right now, I'm the highest achieved Sikh boxer in the UK, the highest ranked as well.
Obviously, you spoke about who's number one on your hit list.
Yeah.
What about in the UK? Perhaps having a top 10 battle there. Does that interest you? Does it not?
I'll be honest,
Some
they-
people
they-
could say that's potentially more of a challenge.
I'll be honest, the figures that they're offering for them sort of fights is like a joke. Like, I make that money flipping.
Yeah, but who cares about the challenge? Like, look, he's challenging himself when he goes out overseas and fights. He's been all around Africa at the moment. He's been East and West. He's having big fights in Bookham Arena, which holds 7,000 people.
I'm getting paid better than what they're
He's getting paid good money. You say challenge yourself against the top 10 in the UK, but why not try and shoot for Neeraj? He said, he feels he has the personality to become a star in India.
I could challenge the top 10 in Britain and get the whole of the British publicity. Well, some of them.
You wouldn't even get that.
You wouldn't even get the whole of them following you. You could challenge Neeraj.
Neeraj is like,
and
you know when you think of the biggest names in the UK, when you think of like Tyson Fury, you think of Chris Eubank. He's like these sorts of guys, but without the pedigree.
Yeah.
What happens when you fight Neeraj then?
He dies, man. He just dies, bro. This guy don't have a chance against me. It's a whitewash.
What happens when you fight Conor Benn?
I win. The family go 0-3 against Indians. How can I let that? How can I be the greatest Indian warrior to ever live and then lose when we're 2-0 up? We're 2-0 up. How can I lose? I've always said it before as well. He has this ugly brother called Harvey Ben Price, whatever his name is. Harvey, I'm not sure, but he fights at 160. I've asked him if me and him could potentially fight. I don't think Conor would be up for any tag team stuff, but maybe on the same card he could fight Harley Ben if I fight Conor. Or I can fight Harley, whichever way you want to do it. But
I thought he was about to say, I fight both for the same night. Or you going to say something like
Conor's
that?
going to be hard.
What happens if you fight Amir Khan then?
He gets knocked out. That's out of the two, Amir's the easier fight.
Do you still carry that punch power then, going up 6 weight
That's
divisions?
all the time. He punches hard, man.
I've had 3 fights at welterweight. The first fight at welterweight, I was losing. I know I was losing. Like, and I was thinking to myself, oh, why the fuck did I just move up to all these weights? Like, I remember looking around, seeing bare people, and I'm like, I literally feel like I'm in a jungle right now. Like, this isn't going well here. Coming back to the corner, the guy's like, oh, he's got to throw more punches. I'm like, nah, man, I've literally come out here. Because what I'd done is I was going to do them over 10, but then I thought, because I don't really like doing fights under 10 rounds. I believe it has to be 10 or 12 titles, or if it's not titled, then 10. So I've done 8 because I was like, I don't know how my cardio is going to hold up because I've put on all the size.
Yeah.
And then we're in like round 3 or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, like why? Like in round 2, I looked around, I'm like, yeah, I fucked up, man. Like I shouldn't have I should have just retired and just not boxed again. Like then I landed like an uppercut on him and his legs went, and then he was on the ropes, ref counted him, and then I managed to stop him in that round. But like, so I must have the power because that was like, I weren't winning. So I had to come out of nowhere, innit? Like, and then dealt with him. Then I fought like a month later, won that. Then I fought 2 months after, and then beat a former WBC world title challenger.
So you think you're settled at the weight now?
So you're
ready for the big
settled
fights.
enough to beat someone that allows their wife to get blacked and stretched by AJ. Yeah, settled enough for that.
The emphasis you put on that.
No, because that's not a man right there. Like, I don't know if that's what he's into, but that's not a man, innit? That's a waste of a man, right? Like, how would you feel, Tony, if your missus left you
to me, mate,
and got blacked and then stretched by a big stallion like AJ? How would you feel?
Oh, God, the barn's coming out, bro.
I'm not even going to ask you that question, but it's not a good feeling, is it? Let's be real.
All right, so we've spoke about Amir Khan, spoke about
Conor Benn.
Obviously, it was nice to see you're only behind Conor Benn and Harlem Eubank in the box rec rankings. So you're number 4, right? I think.
Number 4. Lewis Crocker was number 2. Harlem was number 3. I was 4, yeah.
So you've worked your way up fairly well. Are you planning on doing the same thing, Tony?
I'll be honest, the ranking ain't really sort of like something that's too important to me. The profile is. So I need to get fights that the Indian community see, start building my following up and creating my name out there if I want that fight.
Is there anyone else in the Indian Sikh community that you see as a potential fight further down the road?
Right now, he's got the biggest following, man. He's target number 1. He's the victim.
I'm not going to bother asking you about anyone else.
He's the victim, bro.
What about you? Prince, is there anyone else? Amir Khan, Conor Benn?
Look, if I'm
No,
jumping,
this is your chance
if I'm,
now to-
if I'm
to
jumping up
give the
six
call
weights,
outs,
I'm
right?
only jumping up for serious big matches.
Yeah.
Saying that,
So I'm not willing to go on. What was
so there's a few people on the Misfits I wouldn't mind fighting.
Go on.
I wouldn't mind fighting Anthony Taylor. But if
Yeah.
you're gonna fight guys that in the UK circuit and stuff, I know he's American, but he does come here and fight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or they
I
take
quite
fighters
enjoy
up
the
there,
Misfits.
so,
I've
yeah.
been to one of their
I
events.
wouldn't mind doing any of the Misfits fights.
I've
yeah.
been to one of their events and I quite like how it's run. It reminded me a bit, because obviously I'm a wrestling fan. It reminds me a bit of how wrestling works.
I feel like you're more about the entertainment side of it.
I'm a sports entertainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, as a sports entertainer, I prefer that aspect. You go to let's cut the bullshit. You go to like a Steve No-Win show or Mickey Smelliot show or TM14 or Nielsen. You go to these shows, you already know who's going to win the fights anyway. It's like 50%, the away corners all going to get beat,
Yeah.
and the home guys are all going to win. You go to a Matchroom show or Warren show or whatever show, you kind of already know who's going to win, but they're a little bit more 50-50. Because obviously they want the home guy, the guys they're investing in to win. But you kind of get you know roughly. Go to a Misfits show and it's kind of like a 50-50, yeah.
Because the guys are so wild.
'Cause it's so, like,
it's a fight. Like, it's actually quite
Random
good,
with
yeah.
some of the people. It's more 50-50 than... I like the way they believe in the entertainment. So a guy isn't going to be cancelled for talking or saying something or doing something. And the thing I understand at the moment, which is why probably me and Tony ain't getting pushed, is because our social media following ain't as big as what it should be.
Never really worked.
But we don't pay for followers. We don't do all that sort of bullshit. But now we're working on that stuff. So I know the only thing that I believe could be holding me back, social media followers. I'm working on that now.
Yeah.
I've gained over 2,000 followers in like 4 weeks since my last win. He has as well, because we're PRing it correct now on what we're doing. We're reaching the right audiences and we're pushing our content in the right audiences. So we know what we got to roughly do. But once I do that, there's not a box that I don't tick. I look good, very fucking good. I clearly can fight. I have all the credentials to back it up, and I'll have the following. And then once I have the following, that's when guys like Neeraj will see guys like me and you as a big fight. And then obviously Neeraj gets
I
knocked
think,
out.
truthfully, couldn't you imagine? You could see this quite easy. I know you could. You're smiling behind the camera. I could see it coming. Me and him in a tag team against any of the guys on Misfits. I think that the drama show we could bring, the beatdown we could bring, the entertainment.
I could see that. I'll
we
be
could
honest. I
bring.
could see you guys on
We've
Misfits.
got a tag team name,
Brand worldwide.
Brown Worldwide. I don't know if you watch Step Brothers. So.
Tell me a little bit about the management company. that
Well,
you guys-
we offer promotion, management, security, and companionship. Yeah.
I know that
to
going.
10 out of 10.
So what's the companionship side of it?
Like some people get lonely and they want to speak to guys that look like me.
Yeah.
And some people get lonely. Women only. So, yeah.
You know, I'm just trying so hard to keep a straight face here. Okay, so what's next then? 2025. You're chasing these big names. While you are chasing the big names, I'm assuming they're not going to be immediately.
Look.
So what happens in the meantime? What do you do? Like, you continue traveling?
I'm gonna continue knocking people out, making money, fornicating with bitches, and just building my profile. I've said it. Look, I know the only thing that's holding me behind is social media followers. I'm gonna up that soon. That's being
So
worked
if
on.
that does happen and that profile continues to grow,
because you're only as big as the amount of people, the
agree.
audience you have. So
Yeah, 100%.
It's like in Bollywood, they say, for example, that the women ain't as paid as much as the men. But then I see a thing where one of the actors, the male actors, was saying, no, it's about how many bums you can bring to the cinema to watch your stuff. And if it means that the males bring in more than the female, then it means that they should be paid more, which kind of makes sense in my opinion. Just to clarify, I'm not sexist, in case anyone tries to blackball me for that. I was raised by a single mum, just to clarify that. Not sexist. But yeah, he gave a good point there. So it kind of makes sense. I know I can generate a lot of views if they was to throw me, because I've done it before when I fought on Dean's show. Boxing King Media come to do a live stream. There was like 25, or I think it was 30,000 people tuned in live at the time. But just before I was on, it was on 500. Then it shot up to 30,000. Then it come down to like 700 or something. So even the Boxing King Media guy who runs it goes, so what was happening at that spike? And then you show in the video and it's me laying the smack down. As long as I can show that on my, like, because your social media is like your portfolio. Once I can show that, then I've proved it. then it makes complete sense for me to be getting these big fights.
I'll be honest, I want you guys to go far in the sport, right? I can see your profile is growing, but do you think that there is that? Okay, you've burnt a lot of bridges in the past, right? How do you?
But what bridge have I actually burnt? Like when I was with Frank Warren, I had one fight a year. Like what kind of pro's supposed to live off one fight a year, keep sponsors happy, and you're not even speaking to the guy directly yourself. You're dealing with the guys in the office. So I'm dealing with some T-boy in the office. And it's the truth though, because it offends me when I even have to bring this up, because I used to tell people that I was injured. Like when I used to see my friends on the street, I'd be like, oh, you know what, I've got a finger problem or got a hand problem. Like it was all a lie. Like to really not tell them, oh, I can't get hold of this guy. Like he's just gone missing. Like so it's to do. But like I remember, like we're close to Christmas now, right? Yeah, I remember Christmas Eve 2025. There was a box called Derry Matthews on Twitter told me.
Derry Matthews, yeah.
He told me, and I can verify with proof, because I have screenshots still. Yeah, he told me, I showed you the other day, yeah. He showed me, he said, you are not even from this country. So do us all a favour and fuck off back. Yeah?
From Derry Matthews.
That's what he said. And then three months later, he's gifted with a world title fight. So this is what and this isn't me lying about this or
that's
saying it never happened.
Quite a statement.
Because it's on black and white, you can see it. It's still on Twitter, but he deleted his tweet, but the screen grab I took is still up there. And then he tried to do an interview after saying that, like, oh well, you know, I didn't actually say that, and I lied, and it's all bullshit. I photoshopped it, but other people had seen it at the time, so they were calling them out on it. But like, what I'm trying to say is like, so I'm on the shelf while this guy's saying tweets like that, and then when I do go overseas and I'm fighting in other countries, I'm getting told, why don't you fight in the UK? I don't feel unwelcome in the UK. But obviously I'm happy to be British and stuff. But
what do you think about diversity in the sport of boxing?
There is
especially from an Indian and a Sikh Punjabi perspective.
There is no diversity for Indians in professional boxing.
Yeah,
do you think that we're not getting the opportunities we should, or do you think it's the fact that we don't have a crop of good enough boxers? What do you think?
It could be a bit of that, because other than me and Tony in the UK personally, I can't really think of anyone who I believe deserves to be pushed.
There's one lad who I think has the potential to go on and do some damage if he continues, and he's young.
Name?
Gully Power.
Okay.
I think he has potential.
He has potential. Okay, so
I don't.
He's probably gonna watch this now because you mentioned him.
He's a lighter weight.
He's a lighter weight. Okay, so number one, people, and I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
No one cares about the little guys.
He's about bantam weight.
Super bantam, I think he is. On Instagram.
Super bantam. Yeah.
But he looks, in my opinion, okay.
Yeah.
He looks okay.
Early on in his career, right? 21 years old.
Yeah, he looks okay from what I've seen on his Instagram. And what you got to bear in mind as well is when you put reels
you never know, he might fill out as well. He might hit welterweight.
He just get fucked up. But you got to think about it this way though. Like he's young. He's winning, which is important. He brings in a good crowd.
Yeah.
But if he's really good, he'd push for titles. He's 11-0, 12-0. There's a Midlands title available. I think it's from the Midlands, from Wolverhampton. Go for something like that. Why keep fighting journeyman? That's something I said to Tony. Tony was fighting journeyman. And then when I spoke to him, I went, I sparred him.
But I guess he doesn't need to rush, right? It's early on in his career. He can take his time. And he probably is holding back on those title shots.
Can take his time. But it's like what I said to Tony when I was with him. I sparred him. We put some rounds in, put some good rounds in. I said to him, why are you fighting like a 1 in 4?
Yeah.
Like what's that? We're wasting your time. Like, because I've sparred him. I've seen him spar other guys. I took him to the gym. I was like, you're wasting your time with these guys. Go fight someone who's actually going to try and fight back. Because when you fight them guys, that's when you can get stoppages. When a guy opens up and he's trying to knock you out as well,
that's when you can catch him.
If a guy's just running around with his hands up,
he's expecting to get hit. Like, he's gonna just clinch up and take you.
Exactly. So he's just trying to survive, really. But then that's where this is the thing where I say, like, I don't really. Like, there's no offense to him. He's decent. If you can't stop guys like that, you're gonna find it very hard to stop guys after that. So if he fights someone who's coming back to hit him and hurt him rather than collect the paycheck,
you think he'll get the stoppages?
Uguli.
Yeah.
Potentially. Or he could just get himself beat. That's when we'll find out how good he really is. Fight someone who's got a winning record. Don't have to be someone with like 30 wins, no losses. Fight someone with a winning record, someone who's going to try and win.
Yeah.
And then we could take assumptions from there. But he's selling a lot of tickets. Why ain't he on TV then? It's Indian representation.
Very good point. I do think he
Might be from a different background to him, but I would want him to do well based on being from.
And I think he has got the social media following as well that goes with it.
He gets a lot of views in Punjab in India.
Yeah.
Tony gets a lot of views in Punjab as well. I feel with Sikhs, you just got to wave the Sikh flag and you're just going to get loads of likes and follows. But it's good though. Obviously, you're backing one another. But yeah, he's decent. I'd like him to do well.
Yeah.
But I just don't think, other than me and Tony at the moment, guys are really in the Indian community are pushing forward. I'd like him to.
When you sparred me, I said to you, I was like, bro, what do you think? And then you told me, and then you was like, look, this is truthfully what you got to do. This is the level I think you're at.
I gave him the breakdown of what I think he can achieve. He might not have lied to what was said, but I gave him the true breakdown because there's no point lying to someone in the game, especially if because this guy makes a fucking lot of money outside of boxing, more than he'll probably ever make in boxing. Yeah.
So why continue to box then? Is that legacy
I wanted to represent my people.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason I wanted to box. I made a promise to my baba, my grandfather. I said, I'll represent my people because it's your dream to have our family name represented.
Yeah.
And I've done that. There's one thing I can do to go to the next level and beat that guy that I've mentioned. And bro, I've kept the promise to my grandfather then.
2025 then, what's the plans for you, Tony?
2025.
Neeraj and nothing else or?
I got to build. I've got to build my following. I've got to get myself out there with my own community. I tried before, but I'll be honest, the promoters and managers I had at the time didn't really care about my community. They just said, do this, do that, do this. Obviously, didn't have a clue what they was doing because it didn't build. It just come to like a stop.
Are you guys going to continue to travel next year?
Yeah,
Is it going to be outside the UK?
Got a few dates lined up.
Looking at shows in Europe as well.
Yeah, some in Europe, Germany potentially. I've fought in Germany twice already.
Most of these fights have actually been in Europe.
Yeah, I've only recently been going there because if you're selling out like 5,000, 5,500, 7,000 people in Bookham Arena,
there's actually a lot of Indians in that area.
You'll be surprised by the amount of Indians in Africa.
Yeah.
In general, especially East Africa.
They love him.
All the business owners in places out there are Indian. And even when you go to Ghana, for example, I know you're thinking West Africa, how did they get over there? The owner of Centre Park Mall, for example, they done a boxing show there just before we fought last, a week before. We fought in Bookham, though, they fought there. And the owners were all Indian. And then they told me that when independence happened, they instead of staying there, they just went, fuck it, we're going to go here instead, see what's available for us. And they're doing very well for themselves. There's a lot of rich Indians, and I love hearing the word rich Indians everywhere in the world.
A lot of patriotic as well.
Yeah.
They want to support their own.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of them all around the world. And in Africa, there seems to be quite a lot more than I've seen in Europe. As in, when I say Europe, I mean outside of UK. But yeah, there's a lot of them out there. And
I noticed that with our community as well. A lot of our, instead of supporting each other, we get jealous of each other. Like even though we're mentioning all these other fighters.
Why do you think that is?
No, but you go to an Indian
wedding. I might agree with you on that, but why?
You go to an Indian wedding.
Because you can't do
why
what
though? Is it because everyone wants to be the first?
Yeah, everybody.
Is that what
our
it is?
mentality to be, we're number one. But bro, you got to earn it.
If you go to an Indian wedding and your cousin starts asking you loads of questions that you haven't spoken to for like 3-4 years, they're only asking you that question to hear you go, I'm really struggling at the moment.
I might have to agree with you there. Yeah,
it's 100%. I've noticed this. That I've been to like in the last year and a half, like to like 6 different weddings, and I know when people are asking me questions, they want to see like, is this guy like struggling? Is he
more
like,
so to make themselves feel better, right?
Do you
know what, I have to fucking agree with you there.
One auntie will tell the other auntie, "Oh, my child's doing this now."
Yeah.
So all that sort of bollocks. But like to be honest, it's like for me, if I just hear something, especially if they're Indian and they're doing well, doesn't matter if they're from a different background. As long as they're doing well, I'm happy.
Fair play. I think that's the exact mentality you should have. Stay in your own lane, focus on your own achievements, and then
even
fair play to anyone else,
even
right?
though we've got to get the credit we deserve for what we're doing.
Yeah.
All the other boys doing their stuff, we're not putting them down or slagging them. It's like, at the minute, we're ahead of the race.
That's what I said with Gully.
Overtake.
I like what he's doing. He's getting people behind him and stuff. Not putting him down at all. He could, as you said, he could go places.
You don't want to sign him to your management company?
Could do
potentially if it makes money, it makes sense. But just hopefully he could be number 2 He could
Take
be.
my place, mate.
But there's been a high profile retirement lately. Somebody who you've had a lot of back and forth with.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to get your guys' opinion. Sonny Edwards, what do you think about? Is he retiring too early? Obviously, we heard what he said in the ring, right? And so maybe that was the only option for him to retire. He's had a long career. What are your thoughts on it?
Either two options. One, he made a lot of money in the bookies, or two, he just got fucked up.
Yeah.
Happens. I got beat before.
Did you? Was it Charlie Edwards you fought in the
amateurs?
In the amateurs,
he fought 6 times.
6 times.
6 times.
And what was the score?
It's 5-1 to him.
5-1.
But I put him down a few times.
You don't want to.
No, look,
You don't want to get one back.
Look, to be honest,
He's gone up a couple of weight.
I don't
He's
think
a
he's going to make that weight
I ain't
anymore.
making bantamweight.
There could be a catch weight on the cards.
Yeah,
It
they
makes
won't.
money, it makes
If
sense.
it makes money, it makes sense. Obviously, it don't feel good losing to someone 5 times out of 6.
I think personality-wise, you two would go off.
It always used to go off in the amateurs. Like, we couldn't spar when we was at England camps.
Because he's very temperamental.
Who
as well.
dropped?
I dropped him multiple
You
times.
dropped
Like,
him
of course
more?
I did. Like, I this guy.
Let people know that I dropped him.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't him dropping me.
Yeah, like, nah. I got dropped once in the. I've only been dropped once in my whole life. In the senior ABAs, I went in like a year early, jumped in with a shot, I was square, then I got caught, landed on my ass, then got back up straight away. But other than that, no, nothing. I thought I was gonna get stopped at my first fight at welterweight though, but yeah, like
Yeah.
so you could feel like when I started getting hit with a couple of shots, I was like, it's a big fucking difference here, like. But yeah, thankfully.
So no interest in that, unless like you said, unless it makes money, right?
About the 10th time I said it now. If it makes money, it makes sense. But to
Yeah.
be honest, I have no real interest in losing weight and looking like a crackhead, like all skinny and drawn out. And
You look a lot better, bigger.
like, you look at, no disrespect, but you look at Sonny Edwards. I know he's retired. I'm not even talking to fight up with him. If you look at him aesthetically and you saw him on the street and he was with the nitties and you would think he's on the pipe or something. You would think he's on crack. He has that look. He looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It's not really an pleasing looking person. Like,
you can't go.
I don't
skinny
understand
again,
how he can do commentary, like punditry. You know, when you do the interviews and stuff, he doesn't. He looks dramatically a lot shorter than everyone. He just doesn't look healthy. He just doesn't look nice. Like,
Why has there been this bad blood between you both for so long?
if I had children, or if I may have children, I just don't want to let anyone know. I wouldn't want them to look at that on TV. I say, oh my God, I'm scared now. Like, it's like one of them ones. Like, it's not really the greatest looking thing to look at, right? Is it? Thinking about it. But yeah, like, I don't know why we had the backwards and forward. Probably, I'm pretty sure we probably both got a very similar personality. We both probably are entertainers. Both natural winners, I would say, because he's world champion. I'm world champion in the World Champions Club. He obviously doesn't like losing. You could tell even when he kind of gave up mid-fight against Galawia Fai, he didn't want to lose. Unless there was the bookies thing that I told you about that potentially could have been the case. Yeah, and he lost. Yeah, better man won.
I just want to go back to this relationship between the two of you, this partnership. Has there been any clashes? Has there been any fallings out? Has there been any...
Yeah, someone takes the mick in the sparring sessions. So he makes me spar 20 odd rounds and then jumps in. Yeah, I'm gonna do 21 with you. Like, get in there, Tom. Come on, you need the work.
How
So
is it?
take
Because
your
you
liberties.
both got different personalities, right? And
Yeah.
obviously we know you're quite outspoken. So how is this? Has there been any other seriously
No, like,
kind of disagreements and
Nah, there's a lot of respect there with the working relationship because I know he knows what he's doing. He knows that I would never do anything that would jeopardize anything for us. So it is like a brotherhood. Like, we look after each other.
He's a businessman, so when he sits down and we'll obviously have jokes and bants and stuff, but then when he tells me, you know what, this doesn't really make sense, and then
But it's
I'll
like
weigh it
people
up.
offered him fights for a lot of money, and I said to him, I don't think that's going to be enough for what the fight's worth. Like, I think you deserve more for what you've achieved in the sport. You deserve to be paid more.
I don't struggle with cash though, so it's like people can.
Yeah, that's why.
If you're Amir Khan trying to get a retirement severance pay against Kell Brooks, so you don't mind getting chiefed up and taking your beating like a man, even though you're on gear. because obviously he failed the test. I don't have to say allegedly, he did fail a test. So, and the worst thing about it is he tried to say in the interview, like, oh, I could have just shook someone's hand. Well, an Austrian, yeah? Psalms. You could have shook someone's going to have Psalms on their hand, and it's going to somehow go into your blood. Like, I know you're looking like with a smirk. You're thinking to yourself, that's bullshit. That's great name ducky, man. That's straight ducky right there.
It's suspect. I'll say it straight. It's definitely suspect, right? But one thing I've noticed is happening a hell of a lot now in boxing, right? And
a lot of bullshit going
does that
around.
not concern you guys? And
Nah, because I'm
not saying you are, but someone could say
No,
Prince
hell no.
Patel, he's jumped up about 8 weight
No,
divisions.
but when you
Seen how much he bloody eats.
when you break it down, you look at how much you jump up. When I was doing bantamweight, I was naturally walking around. If
Was
I
it
had,
a straight jump, by the way, bantamweight to...
yeah, but I did have some matches when I was even at bantamweight at like feather, lightweight,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But it was like I thought when I was at bantamweight, if I wasn't training and I was eating normally, I'd go up to like 60 odd kilos, like 61, 62 sometimes. But then when you're adding weight training into it, proper resistance training, hypertrophy stuff, and then you're eating a hell of a lot more, you're going to gain size. So what? A newbie gains, because I wasn't really a bodybuilder. Well, I'm doing a lot of bodybuilding training now, but back then newbie gains, you're going to gain like weight naturally anyway from your newbie gains. And then you're eating a lot more. You're like,
How do you feel?
4,000.
Do you feel quicker? Do you feel stronger? Do
I
you
feel more explosive, but if I haven't been doing cardio, I get tired a lot more quicker.
Yeah.
So it's like if I haven't like knocked someone out quickly,
Because
it's
it's not an easy thing to do. Go up there.
No,
You're
it's
carrying
not.
a lot of weight that your body's not used to, a lot of
to,
additional
yeah.
muscle, which can, like you said, you can fatigue a lot quicker, right?
I feel normally, truthfully, like when it hits like round, because I spot him 10, 12 straight off sometimes.
Yeah.
And when it hits like round 6, round 7, I don't know if it's the body shots or if I'm just getting tired. But I notice I do get a lot more tired at that point, and then it's not like as explosive. And then even when I was sparring other guys, because I was sparring a middleweight for the last fight because he was southpaw, and like the first 5, 6 rounds, I felt like I'm looking good here. Like, and then once it's at round 8, and then I'm like, yeah.
Even me, I've learned the way I fight, I'm a very slow starter, so don't try to do too much in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah.
I used
I've
to be
learned
a
that
slow
about
starter
myself, yeah.
when I was at bantamweight, but then I tried to maintain the same work rate going to welterweight, and then it's not as.
And what's your perfect weight, Tony? Your ideal weight?
Ideally, I would say super what was a good weight for me, but middle, I'd be very comfortable at middle as well. Jumping up to super middle, I did feel really small at the weight. I'd come up for Neeraj, but
Neeraj should be about super
Yeah.
lightweight anyway, man. He's at 140,
man.
he should
He
be.
shouldn't be fighting at that weight.
Even
Super
when he
middle's
was
too big for me.
welterweight, he looked like he had like skinny fat.
But
That's
I
the worst physique a man
I
can
showed
have.
against
Skinny
good
fat.
level fighters, I can still hold my own at super middleweight.
Yeah.
The guy had 100% knockout ratio.
Yeah, I felt it.
And he was
I
licking
bloody
you hard.
felt it, mate. The first punch the guy hit me with, I looked back in the corner, saw him, and he looked at me, and I was like, "Bro, this guy is hard, man."
Yeah, I was there, because I was on straight after him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because obviously I got him the match, so I thought to myself, I've got to at least watch the first couple rounds
Yeah.
to gauge how it's gonna go a
I
little.
think once
Watching the
happened,
first
yeah.
round, I was shitting myself.
I was like, yeah, but I think towards the end of the first round, I thought just fucking lick him hard, and everything behind the punch, see his legs just wobble, everything.
Yeah.
Then you realise, oh shit, he's not actually punching like a super welterweight, he's punching like a super middle, and he backed off a bit then. And then I
About
just
10
outboxed
different
him,
things
yeah.
run through my mind in the first round. Like I was watching him, the first minute he was taking a beating, like some big shots. He's on the ropes, and I thought, if I just pitch invaded, like would they just cancel the match or something? Like I thought I was on now. What's going on? That's what I was gonna do. Like
I was like, fuck the money, bro. This guy's trying to kill me, man.
yeah, like it was decent, and he got paid for it as well. So done well.
Okay.
Won,
Well-
which is the key thing, right? You got to make numbers.
Well, we're coming to the end of the podcast, unless you've got any other people that you want to call out. But have you got any final messages to anyone in particular? Looking into that camera right there. Anybody?
Just if you're brown, make sure your wife does not get blacked and stretched by AJ. Just make sure it don't happen. I know there's a lot of other guys, there's a lot of other bunda out there that's happened to. I'm not saying it's happened to you, Tony. There's another guy out here that's happened to, and things ain't ever gonna be the same again for him.
But it's never a dull day with this guy, is
Yeah,
it?
no, it's not.
Jesus Christ. But boys, thank you, because I know you've made a long journey for this podcast today. I think you've made a fair bit of noise, fair few interesting comments, interesting call-outs. I do hope to see your careers progress. Like I said, I've been following you both for some time now. But let's see if you can generate those big fights. So I think it's a legitimate thing. What's next for you guys, right? If you want to take your career to that next level, and if what you said today helps you do that, then yeah, I guess fair play to you, right?
Yeah, obviously. Thank you for having us, Mr. Gill. It means
No problem.
a lot. I've actually got a friend in Coventry with the same surname, Gill.
Yeah, who's that?
She went into your. She was in your partner's sixth form. That's because when I told her I was on this, she said, "Oh,
Who's
I
that?
know his partner. She's called Aaron. Aaron Deep.
There's a lot
If
of
you
Aaron
ask your
Deeps.
missus, she might know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she said that. But yeah,
Small
obviously,
world.
It's a very small world. There's a lot of Gills in this world as well.
And obviously this guy coaching my my cousin as well.
I want to
Nephew.
say a shout out actually. It's like family to me. I'm not going to say no names, so I don't know if he wants his name on camera, but my little food critic and my little student, Zora, say keep up the hard work, keep up the training. I hope to see you soon.
Good stuff. But no, yeah, thank you for coming on, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's see what 2025 holds. Will it be Amir Khan? Will it be Conor Benn? Will it be Neeraj? We'll see. Thank you, guys. And thank you
Thanks for
everyone
having
for
us.
watching, and take care.